Hello, and thank you for watching this course on Certified Ethical Hacker version 9, brought to you by INE. During this particular lesson, we're going to have an overview of what cyber attacks are like in real life. This includes some brief historical notes about the hacking activity and how it has evolved to be what it is, and also some of the security landscape of nowadays. So the agenda will include some historical events of hacking, the modern hacking landscape, what it looks like, what are the motivations, and then we're going to have a review of some of the 2016 important attacks that have been made public, right? Since this is the time of the publication of this course. So I chose this picture because inventive and curiosity is really behind the full hacking thing. All right, think about hacking. What is hacking? Hacking is creating, but it's also disassembling. All right. If you have a look at hacking philosophy, it's not about destroying. Actually, some hackers would be quite offended if someone points that their activity is to destroy. Hacking is about finding workarounds. It's about being creative. It's about problem solving. Okay. Now, a derivation of the hacking activities is cracking, and that might be that might end up destroying things. But the foundation of hacking is engineering and curiosity. And typically the hacking activity relates to individuals who are very curious, like this kid right here, disassembling a computer. He might destroy it and destroy a couple more. But eventually, if his skill is channelized properly, this could become a very skillful engineer. If if his parents manage to keep this curiosity, and pair it with a proper education, that is, right? So yeah, remember that hacking is a lot about curiosity, inventive problem solving. An early days hacker, for you to have an example, is this fellow right here, Neville Maskelyne. This is quite a story, actually. There was an Italian inventor called Guglielmo Marconi, who was kind of a big shot in the industry of wireless transmissions. And at this time, we're talking 1903, right? So it was not wireless as we know it right now. It was merely the first Morse code transmissions via wireless means, right? So we're talking in that context. So this guy, Guglielmo Marconi, he was concerned with developing secure communications for those Morse code transmissions. He had a big company and he used to have a lot of patents, right? Now, when he was in London, along with his employee, John Ambrose Lemming, he was creating an exposition and a demonstration for an important audience of how to secure these wireless communications via one of his protocols. Something started to happen. All right, the Morse code that appeared was not what they wanted. It was an infiltrated code that started spelling rats. Okay, so it spelled rats in Morse code. Then it started spelling a poem in Morse code, and there was a young fellow in Italy who diddled the public quite prettily. So indeed, it was a mockery, and it was just to demonstrate that somebody had hacked that Morse code communication and introduced his own Morse code, therefore bringing a lot of shame to the people, because to the people who was trying to sell this idea, because they were selling it as a protocol to secure communications, and it was hacked right off in the main presentation. All right, so it's quite a funny story. So the why this happened is because this gentleman right here, Neville Maskelyne, he was a very creative individual. He used to be a magician, all right, and he started experimenting a lot of interesting applications of wireless technology, and he felt frustrated because whenever he wanted to commercialize something of his own, he ended up stumbling with one of Marconi's famous patents. So he could not do that freely. And this is the reason why, out of resentment, he intruded into this conference and he proved them wrong, and therefore being one of the first hackers in history in the modern sense of the word. All right, so this is quite a story. Another quite more famous story is the forefathers of modern computing, cryptography hackers, that is. This gentleman right here, you might recognize him as Alan Turing. And Alan Turing was a scientist from England who helped develop a computer, right? A computer that was able to decrypt the Enigma communications used by the German army. Therefore, having a critical participation, him and his team, including Gordon Welchman and Harold Keen, in the development of the World War II, and in the positive development, and that is towards the victory of the Allied forces, right? So there you go. It's Turing versus Enigma machine. They took a lot of their, they based their work in something that was worked before by Marian Rejewski from Poland. So they took some of those elements, and the revolutionary idea at the time was controlling the operation of a machine via instructions that are stored in the computer's memory. So this principle alone made Alan Turing to be recognized as the forefather of modern computing. Now, what's funny about this, though, is that this was a hacking effort from scratch. It was not necessarily an effort to introduce a new discipline or a new commercial thing. No, this was a hacking effort. What prompted the construction of the bomb, which is the device that was used to crack Enigma, was a hacking effort. It was to reverse cryptography from the Germans. All right. So the forefathers of modern computing were actually very sophisticated hackers. So that's a picture of the bomb. This is a rebuilt, right? This is not the original one. This is a project that was created to rebuild the bomb created by these fellows. And now we go to our last case, historical case. And I have entitled it Friend or Foe, because this character right here personifies the dualism that sometimes there is concerning hackers. And I want to take advantage of this topic to just say something. I don't want you to expect from me throughout this entire course to pass judgments on whether somebody is good or bad because of their activities. Hacking has a lot to be discussed, right? And I will leave you to make those choices. And I will certainly refer to things are as legal or illegal, but I don't mean to say someone is bad or someone is good, right? Just wanted to clarify that. And I chose this case because of that, because it's difficult to pass judgment to a person like this. The guy you see here on the screen, his name was Joe Ingricia. And later, he renamed himself Joy Bubbles. Joy Bubbles, this is real. He changed his name to Joy Bubbles because he felt like childhood should never end. And he created a religion in which people were back to childhood and continuously being kids and all of that. I mean, he had his own thing, all right? But apart from that, this guy had the qualities of a genius in many senses. He was born blind, right? He was visually impaired, and instead he developed the absolute pitch. So absolute pitch is someone who's got the capability of reproducing sounds exactly as they are and knowing all of the possible pitches and notes and being able to reproduce them exactly. So this is something very rare, and he had it. Because he had this particular skill or this particular ability, he discovered that if he could whistle at certain frequencies into a phone, he could activate phone switches. All right, so he could activate phone switches, communicate with the frequencies of phone switches just by whistling, and place long distance calls. Okay, there's a lot to say about this, the story of joy bubbles, but this is one of the most remarkable things because it gave birth to a style of hacking which is called phreaking. And phreaking is exactly that, is introducing frequencies to manipulate voice switches, telephone switches, and be able to do stuff with them that maybe you're not supposed to. So even when he was in college, he was able to place long distance calls by using his ability and charge for them $1 for each long distance call. Okay, so he was eventually caught and legally processed, and he was held accountable for it, and you know, had to pay back to society for this crime. But yeah, this is part of his story. So he had this ability. He eventually misused this ability, but does it mean he was a bad guy, someone destructive? Maybe not, right? Maybe even the authorities could have used a more constructive approach and, you know, offer him something and leverage his abilities for something else. So that's why the title is Friend or Foe, right? Sometimes a lot of individuals who are in the hacking activity, they might be properly channelized to something good. That's at least my personal consideration. So again, we're not going to judge right or wrong in this course. All right, let's talk about the modern day hacking landscape. So one of the main reasons why organizations or groups of people organize to perform hacking activities is because of ideology. Okay, many have a certain political agenda, many have a statement to say or statement to make, and they want society to listen. For example, the Syria files. For example, the attack, a famous attack of Operation Payback, Anonymous performed on MasterCard as a response to what happened with the WikiLeaks. LulzSec, for example, they they brought down the CIA.gov website. They wanted to make a statement clearly. All right, then a lot of more things, right? Hacktivism, you can see there. Oh well, I think I misplaced Aaron Swartz there, but Aaron Swartz, a very important person in making statements through information breaches, right? Well, then Anonymous, then we have Julian Assange, and then we have an NBC News story about data breach in the federal government, right? So what's important, I think, here is that skills in cybersecurity and hacking skills have become a means to react to power, to react to certain things people are not, you know, in agreement with. And so this is a lot of what we're looking at. There's a lot of hacktivism going on. Then there are also attacks that are corporate attacks and corporate espionage. So the reasons for them might be varied, right? It might be that you just disagree with things that this corporation are doing, and then you decide to, you decide to do some damage to them. Might be that you're actually after money, or might be that you're actually paid by a competitor. I am not saying that any of these brands, that this is the case with any of these brands. These brands are there, appearing there, because they were victims of attacks, and that was publicly known. Okay. Big firms such as Monster, JP Morgan Chase, Yahoo, this is very recent, and even security firms, important security firms like RSA, they have been hacked, and this has been publicly known. And this is part of the current security landscape. Even a firm so bold in the encryption technology like RSA, they were able to hack it. So this stresses the importance of not only knowing how to prevent security breaches, but how to handle them and minimize the impact and be absolutely prepared, because no one is just too strong to fall. Okay, look at the names here in this slide. There are also government and anti-government, that's why I put it in square brackets, both government and anti-government driven attacks, also known as cyber warfare. I would recommend you to follow these two links in your slide deck, and just go to YouTube and see this video. This video is, it's quite old. It's had some years since it came, but I feel it's such a good story about the current dangers and the current extent of cyber warfare. They explain things like how hackers have been able to cause chaos in smart cities by how they could eventually connect to power grids and to things that run basic services that are connected to the web and just make havoc. So also it talks about how even the government of the United States has employed people to hack on other governments, and likewise other governments like the Chinese government has employed people to hack on the US and have successfully downloaded information which was sensitive from the government. So guys, it's like, it's very real, right? And it's important to understand this landscape of cybersecurity globally. Then of course there are money driven attacks. Of course there's a lot of value online and accessible through networks. So I'm not saying it's good, it's bad. Like, if you're doing this, I think this is like the, well, I'm not gonna pass judgment, but yeah, if you're doing this, you're acting pretty much like a mercenary, right? That's pretty much what it is, acting like a mercenary. So you're a contractor, you are paid because you want revenge or someone, or because you want to take somebody out of the competition for a certain business, or simply because you want money, or simply you're not a contractor at all, you're just someone with skills who wants to steal money from credit cards. So a lot of that exists. Some of these people actually offer services in the deep web. They can be hired with cryptocurrencies and stuff. They will hack for hefty amounts of money. This is not a cheap activity, and again, they are pretty much digital mercenaries. All right, so now what's left to talk about is some of the major attacks that we've seen in 2016. So let us begin with the US Department of Justice and Homeland Security Department. You can find the link to one related news post below. And what happened, well, besides the gravity that this is the actual US Department of Justice and Homeland Security, is that information about around 20,000 FBI employees was disclosed, and about 9,000 Department of Homeland Security employees. The hack was performed via social engineering, so pretty much it was about deceiving people into providing account information. The hacker was even given different access options. So this means that not only did the hacker manage to deceive the people in charge, but also they managed to be offered different options in order to have access, right? So it was a pretty effective social engineering attack. And the cause of this attack, it was a pro-Palestine ideology, right? So they wanted to make a statement by performing this hack. One of the things is that the hacker explicitly said online that the government realized the breach until 1 week after the attack had occurred. So he considered himself or herself quite successful in what they have achieved. Then another important hack for 2016 was Verizon Enterprise Solutions. Pretty important because of the size of Verizon, and also because it was enterprise solutions. So 99% of Fortune 500 companies was with Verizon Enterprise at the time of the attack. It did expose 1.5 million Verizon Enterprise customers' information, and the information captured was being sold online for about $100,000. Because of the format that the information was found in, Um, Conclusions have been made that probably the hacker exploited a vulnerability in MongoDB systems, MongoDB databases in Verizon, and yeah, as I said before, a lot of the important companies uh, have been with Verizon Enterprise Solutions, so this was a pretty bad hit on Verizon. And then comes Dropbox. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys heard about this and had to change your passwords. You can find a news report of The Guardian here on the link. The Dropbox hack was performed back in 2012. However, the incident was made public this year in 2016. How was it made public? Well, because the information was being sold in the black market, in the deep web. Okay, um, it's not funny. It's just, whatever. Uh, the hack apparently was performed by compromising a Dropbox employee account, and this is one thing that I would like to just make small comment about. You might see patterns, right? Not every attack is an ultra sophisticated attack performed externally and leveraging code vulnerabilities necessarily, right? Some of the big attacks, some of the big data breaches are performed, or a lot of them, I have to say, by means of social engineering. Okay? Sometimes it's social engineering deceiving people. Sometimes it might be not that they, as a matter of fact, deceive the person, but they manage to find through a vulnerability an employee account. And if this was a key account, then it came out relevant to expose millions of other accounts. So this is something to keep in mind. Like, sometimes it's not about making a huge effort of finding a lot of different accounts. You just need an entry point, a good entry point, a privileged access account, and then a lot of havoc can be caused. So access to usernames and passwords of users of Dropbox, right? And this was around 68 million accounts affected, so it was a huge hack. Again, the information was for sale in the deep web, and when this happens, guys, like hackers typically get a dump of the information, and this dump has encrypted and salted passwords. So the information perhaps is not in clear text. So what they do is they try to sell it by chunks to people who have the horsepower to decrypt, to perform decryption on the accounts and eventually achieve it. So it's not necessarily always that they sell a complete product in which, everything is like easy to grab. Sometimes they just grab encrypted stuff, and they know that there are potential buyers for these people who are going to use their advanced computers to try and reverse the encryption of those passwords. The final one that I would like to mention, we could not miss this one, as it's been like the largest and most also publicly commented hack, I believe, in 2016, is the Yahoo hack. You can see a short report on money.cnn.com here below on the matter. Yahoo, well, it's considered the largest data breach so far in the history of corporate hacks. The reason for this consideration is that it compromised more than 500 million user accounts. It was pretty bad, a huge blow on Yahoo. It was labeled the largest corporate data breach so far, as I said. Yahoo has explained publicly that they believe a state-sponsored actor to be responsible for this attack. When we say state-sponsored actor, it means a group of hackers which have been provided, funding and sponsoring from a particular country. They are not saying which. The attack vector used it's undisclosed yet, but in the media you can read that it's suspected to start with a, again, spear-phished account. So just to highlight that just one access to one privileged account can render too valuable for a hacker, right? If they manage to get the account from the right person, this type of chaos can be created, and it seems to be the case with Yahoo. Okay, well, I hope this has helped you, get a grasp on how things are looking for the hacking activity these days, and also how it has evolved from its historical roots. So I would like to thank you for viewing, and I'm sure it's going to be of benefit for your IT security career.